No stopping now. The heat from the speeder warmed her chest as she leaned forward. Her suit thrummed and vibrated, constricting itself, tightly outlining the racer's form. Along its seams it pulsed a deep red before wires snaked out from it and attached itself to the bike's chassis. The racer looked up at the rising loops and curves ahead of her and smiled. Evelyn loved knowing that she was about to win a race. This would be her defining moment. Her face would be on every hologram across the entirety of Altia, not to mention nearly 1 billion credits injected straight into her arm chip. Evelyn turned to the racer beside her as his speeder began to hover above the track. Its anti-gravity dampeners glowed a dim blue as they silently came to life. All she had to do was beat this upstart Lightning, or whatever his stupid stage name was. Her heads-up display flickered on happily, chiming that all systems are nominal. Evelyn gave a wave and a smile to her opponent as the hologram ticked down their final moments to prepare. Usually her opponents, knowing the powerhouse they were facing, did not return her wave or smile. But Lightning did both. Evelyn furrowed her brow and stuck her arms deep into the machine and grasped the safety handles. The announcer's countdown finished, and in an instant the speeder shot across the tracks. It required constant micro-adjustments to the speeder's jets and the rider's angle to even stay on the runners. With no friction holding the bikes back, the giant magnets propelled the racers forward, breaking, then surpassing, the sound barrier. The massive building was a vacuum, no resistance at all, just speed. The thrusters blazed behind Evelyn, hurtling her forwards. The only thing holding her to the raceway was the attraction between her dampeners and the tracks. Too fast, and the magnets would let go, and she would discover just how sturdy the walls of this place were. Too slow, and she would lose. Losing was a far worse fate. Lightning was already trailing by almost 50 feet if her helmet's display was correct. She smiled again. Too easy. Red flashed in her heads-up display. Inside her suit, "Warning! Critical failure!" blasted at full volume. Her left dampeners fizzled and popped, failing. Within moments, her bike would touch the track at Mach 11, and she would be splattered across the coaster. Someone had sabotaged her. Her, the queen of bikes, the empress of race, the champion of Altia. She snarled and diverted all power to her right side dampeners, and ripped her hand free from the left side of the bike and leaned to her right. Another warning flashed across her visor, but she angrily dismissed it. She pulled her left leg free as well, balancing herself precariously on the bike's seat. Her suit's wiring extended to allow her movement. No longer was she clutching the bike in a death grip. Instead, she looked like a surfer ducking underneath a great wave. Each loop in the track threatened to touch her craft and end her decorated career. The Queen was still moving incredibly fast, but the usurper was gaining on her, his bike mere feet from hers. Ahead was miles of track that would be flying by in mere seconds, but those were seconds her bike didn't have. Far below the loop, she was on the checkered line. She gave the risk half a thought before cutting her thrusters and rolling to the right. She heaved on the marvel of engineering and sent it and her spinning over the side of the track. Light cascaded across her visor in waves as she descended. Her black suit and bike glistened and twinkled. Time stood still to let her enjoy the moment. Evelyn's heart swelled. This was what she wanted. Freedom from the banal. Freedom from her past life. Freedom, even from the tracks she loved. Her eyes locked on the straightaway to the finish line, now just below her. As she twisted her body and righted the bike, she re-engaged the thrusters at full, pulling her other limbs free. She now stood on the bike, its dampeners down, as it re-engaged with the track, magnetically locking to its path. In this last straight, she heard the roar of the crowd as it was allowed through her suit speakers. The finish line passed in a split second. With her last command, she cut her thrusters and let the bike pilot itself. After a time, it slowed and bobbed in place, bouncing as Evelyn blew kisses from inside her helmet to billions of fans watching from all over the system. The crowd shouted her name over and over as she held her arms wide, receiving her deserved praise. 30 seconds later, Lightning arrived. He stood from his bike and stomped towards the Empress. His voice, cast to her speakers, was obnoxiously loud and more than explicit. He got as close to her as he dared, waving his arms about, punctuating his rage. He was balanced on the narrow connector between their two tracks. Evelyn smiled, leapt from her bike, and landed just in front of him. "You listen here, you cheating bitch!" With a stiff shove, Evelyn sent an unfortunate footnote in her career, careening towards a floor far, far below.